Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. This week we're devoting the whole programme to deer stalking. Coming up, we're in the Lake District after one of Britain's biggest animals with a World Trophy pin-up hunter. First, let's go to the south of England and look for one of Britain's smallest deer. If it were through the keyhole, Lloyd Grossman would have no problem guessing who lives in a house like this. Geoff Garrod is a marvel. He's a gamekeeper on an estate in Essex looking after pheasant and partridge shooting and deer stalking. He helps to run the National Gamekeepers Organisation and is one of the people behind the popular Gamekeepers Diary DVD series. Today he's taking me out after a deer I have never shot before, Britain's smallest, the Muntjac. Little beggars, aren't they? They're about the size of a fox, aren't they?
Yeah, just a big fox, the size of a big fox, yeah, that sort of size. The bucks can go up a little bit bigger, but the does are sort of like average fox size.
I mean, they're more rabbit-like than deer-like.
No, I mean, they do have the deer characteristics, you know, of feeding on brambles and mooching about and just sort of like on the, you know, if they're not breeding or if they're not in, those are not in season, they're very much loners. They sort of, you very rarely see them in groups like you do with fallow. You know, in the high sits that we've got, when we're in there after fallow, you know, you often see one or two that are just on their own, just mooching about, just minding their own business, having a feed here, a feed there, under the pheasant hoppers, just generally enjoying themselves, really.
Well, it's November now. When's a good time to shoot them?
It's normally this sort of time of year, really, because early on in the year, there's too much cover, you know, and before I swipe any rides out, you tend to get not much sightings of them because they're so slow moving, and in the brambles you very rarely see them. But this time of year, when the undergrowth is dying back, and I've done a little bit of swiping as well in the woods, they become more clearer.
And how many do you take a year off this
We have about 50 or 60 off here through the year.
Gosh, that's fox proportions, really,
That's
isn't
right,
it?
yeah.
Sorry, terrible thing to say to a keeper.
No, it's not fox. It's more than fox proportions.
Yes, quite.
But no, I mean we have a cull. I mean I shoot them through the winter time, and then at the end of the year, because we're in a way in a privileged position to have muntjac, we get quite a few people from the north where muntjac haven't reached yet, and we've had quite a few people that have come down here and shot their first muntjac on here.
Well, it'll be my first muntjac.
Right.
I'm from the West Country. We've only just started to see them.
Yeah, well, we've got plenty here. Just fingers crossed, let's hope they show themselves.
Brilliant. Thanks, Geoff.
Right.
Geoff's hoppers attract more than just his birds. Muntjac and fallow enjoy the free meals too. As we walk to his high seat, a herd of fallow check us out. And Geoff tells me he's happy for me to take one if it comes into range, as the shot is unlikely to disturb the smaller species.
As you can see here, Charlie, this is one of the problems which the muntjac do cause. So I've got the hopper here for the pheasants, but as you can see here, they've absolutely hammered it because they can find it an easy meal, and although I've got guards on there, they can still work so well. They can't get hold of springs and pull them off like they used to. They can still get wheat out of it, and as you can see here, they've got an early breakfast or a late dinner.
Yeah, there's footprints everywhere.
Exactly, yeah.
Compared to some, Geoff's high seat is pretty cosy. And as usual, there's some gamekeeper ingenuity in its construction. So they taste nice.
Muntjac, absolutely gorgeous. My personal feelings about it is they're probably one of the better tasting deer.
People say Seeker's the best.
I've never tried Seeker, so I can't comment on that, but I've had fallow, had a bit of roe, and muntjac, and out of those three that I've eaten, muntjac seems to be the sweetest, got more taste.
Yeah. So you don't have to be that high off the ground for muntjac, is that why you brought this high seat quite low?
I think long as your scent, if you just sort of get your feet over the top there, because muntjac seems to be very, or the muntjac that I've noticed in here, or anyway, seem to have a very acute sense of smell.
Yeah.
And they'll spot you, they'll smell you.
Yes.
Before they'll spot you.
So they see the world through their nose, really, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I've had muntjac sort of troop by in front of me, and you know, you see them looking and that, and they, you know, as long as you're still, that's not a problem. But you know they've sensed you because they'll just stand upright and they'll start thumping the ground with their front paw.
Yeah.
And then it's not long before gone.
Yeah. Yes. People say they're very quick. They just dash and that's it.
Once they've made their mind up to go, they bush off through the bushes and, you know, they're gone then.
Normally, Geoff assures us the place is crawling with muntjac, but not today. Still, it gives us plenty of time to see other wildlife. Cock pheasants feed, a covey of partridge creep past. Grey squirrels take full advantage of Geoff's feeders. He'll have to do something about them. Still, it gives Geoff a chance to talk about his latest Gamekeeper's Diary DVD, which is about tracking deer with dogs.
We just felt that it just carries on the line of or the theme of our DVDs, and you know, it's a good one to have out there because it's we use Peter on the DVD and also his German friend Patrick, who's a professional hunter in Germany, and they use the hounds out there, and it just seemed a very easy one for us to make with Peter's knowledge.
Sure. Yeah.
And we've done some tracking early on in the year. When we had some clients up here, we used Muntjac, and then Pete showed how to use his scent shoes, and the way he teaches his dogs to track it, you know, and I think it's a very knowledgeable one for anyone who wants to go into the business of having a hound for tracking. It's a very simple DVD to follow to get the ultimate result, really.
Yes.
I mean, no one wants to see a deer go away injured and unpicked.
No.
And by having a tracking hound, you'll just hopefully cut that risk out completely.
Yes.
You know, which is what we all want.
Yes.
So that was the reason why we decided to go with that one first, and then following it up with other aspects of deer stalking.
And particularly useful with muntjac, which must just disappear completely when they disappear.
They do, yeah. As you'll see on the DVD, that it does show muntjac being shot, that disappears into some thick bushes, and Pete comes along. So you know, it's to me, I mean, I think it's that we've got it right, and hopefully the viewers will like it as well.
Yeah. At last, just as light starts to fade, a munty appears. Geoff spots it out of the corner of his eye, but it starts munching on grain under a hopper partially hidden by bramble. Patiently we wait until the shot presents itself. Although I could plainly hear the thwack of the bullet strike, the animal runs forward into the wood. Geoff and I quickly head into the undergrowth to look for it.
Got somewhere over there where we sure it was.
Definitely was a thwack.
Oh yeah, you definitely hit. Here we are, look. Here we are, look. Tell you what, it's a nice one for your first one.
Nice indeed.
Congratulations, mate. Well done.
Thanks a million.
Anyway, he's got a nice set of tusks on, hasn't it?
It does, hasn't he? Extraordinary deer, isn't it?
Good set of tusks on him.
Extraordinary.
Yeah.
I hit him quite far back.
Yeah, but he was on an angle with muntjac. I mean, you know, as long as you hit them,
Yeah.
sort of virtually you're going to, you know, that's the sort of an area there that you want to be going for.
He was coming away, so I think that would have gone in
Yeah.
and gone through the heart anyway, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Has it come out? Yeah, look.
Yeah.
It's actually, it went straight to the heart then.
Yeah.
Tiny bit briskety, but mainly to the heart.
Yeah, but I mean, for meat wise,
Yeah.
it's just there, and there. I mean, here,
Yeah.
you know, you hit anything around here, there's not a lot on it here, but that's the main part there.
That's the fillet along there, isn't it?
Yeah, fillet, the saddle and the haunches here.
You're not going to have a spare rib off a muntjac, are you?
No, it would be a very, very spare rib. But I mean, the bottom line of it is that it's down.
Yeah.
We've found it. Job's done. You know,
This is a buck.
it's definitely a buck.
How
Yeah.
can you tell?
Them two things hanging there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But there's this
But
thing.
those don't have antlers.
Does don't have antlers.
No.
Right.
No.
And there's this thing with muntjac is I mean, it's a bit unnatural for English stalkers, but you don't shoot a non-pregnant female. Is that something like that?
Well, the thing is with females, because it's they've got a 9-month cycle.
Yeah.
So there's no seasons for muntjac.
No.
So the best thing to do really, if you see a doe coming in your way, coming across, is give it, you know, don't shoot it straight away.
Right.
Because the chances are, if it's got a youngster, that youngster won't be far behind it.
Okay.
So then you've got the ethics there, whether you shoot the doe, then you have to shoot the youngster.
I see.
But if you can see the doe's actually pregnant, if it's a big fat doe and it's pregnant, that's actually the best time to shoot them, because you're not going to be leaving a youngster.
So they're basically either pregnant or they've got a youngster?
Yeah, they are, because as soon as they've had their youngster and the youngster's sort of old enough, there'll be a buck following it to impregnate again for the following year. So, so if you're shooting does, like I say, just give it a couple of 3 minutes. Like the time we saw this, if this was a doe, and it had a youngster, the youngster would come into view. Okay. Right. So then it's up to you whether you think you're going to shoot it or not. But if it had been a pregnant doe, then you can just shoot it straight away, because you know you're not going to be leaving a youngster. Yeah, a bit distasteful for English stalking, but a nice sensible thing to do, isn't it? Well, the thing is, I mean, these are, because they've got no season. No. You know, I mean, I've seen youngsters like this, middle of sort of December, with snow on the ground. Yeah. And then, you know, you're seeing that like that again in the middle of summer. Incredible, yeah. So, you know, they are technically a sort of pest, really. So, and it's one of them things that you have to do, you know. Geoff is generous, and we share the weight of the buck back to his pickup, and from there it's straight to the chiller in the farmyard. Geoff performs what he stresses is a non-textbook gralloch. Perhaps not the way they teach on DSC2 courses, but a good enough job for Geoff's own freezer. The Gamekeeper's Diary DVD about dog tracking is a little bit more instructional. And if you want to buy a copy of Deerstalking Dogs for Deer, visit www.gamekeepersdiary.com. Geoff's other DVDs are now also available through Fieldsports Channel's DVD shop as well. Now, Muntjac are the southern Jessies of the English deer species. Let's come up north to Cumbria's hilltops for a tough northerner, the red deer. Last Sunday, BBC Countryfile carried an attack from the League Against Cruel Sports on trophy hunting. Well, let's meet one of those mysterious trophy hunters. Pam Zaitz is a big star in the US of A on outdoor hunting TV channels. She has her own TV shows and spends half her life in the back of aeroplanes and the other half of her life in the back of beyond.
I was introduced to hunting by my husband when I was 19. He wasn't my husband at the time, he was just a boyfriend, but I had never been hunting, never even really held a gun, and he invited me to go hunting, I think on our second date. We went deer hunting. I think he wanted to see if I could cut the mustard, so to speak, and I just kind of fell in love with it from the get-go. It was amazing to me to be sitting there and sort of be a fly on the wall of Mother Nature. You know, all these animals were in and they didn't know you were there, and you could see them in their natural habitat and the way they, you know, behave with one another, and I just sort of fell in love with it from the go.
Her passion for hunting is undeniable. There are also sound commercial reasons she goes out with gun and bow 160 days a year. Pam runs a company over there that wants to do rather well over here.
Having hunted for all the years that I have, and having always had an eye for fashion and liking fashion, I thought, why can't you put the two together? I know what I need in the field and what you have to have, and I know what I like to wear, and so I thought, well, I'll just combine those two. It's been quite successful. The women are really, really excited to finally have the same kind of gear that guys have.
On a fact-finding mission to the UK, she is taking time off to try out a bit of top-end stalking. She's used to amazing locations around the world. So what do we find for her in the UK? A wet day in the north of England, of course. Pam's going out with hill deer stalker Jonathan Standing.
Is it 0 to 100?
It's 0 to 100, okay. So if you were to aim somewhere there.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
So aim lower than that?
Oh, yeah,
lower than that?
About there, about there.
So it'll be an inch high at 100?
Yeah.
Got it.
All right. I think we'll leave it as it is, I do, you know. Yeah.
Some of that could be wind, huh?
It could. Easy the wind, yeah.
That one's double hold, though.
It is. Excellent. Excellent. Just what we want, Pam. Brilliant.
Jonathan has been following one herd of deer for several days. He reckons he knows where they are and quickly forms a plan of attack. It's going to be a long haul up and over one fell to the area where Jonathan saw a 10-pointer yesterday. The Shap Fells are steep, as anyone who has driven the M6 motorway along the eastern edge of the Lake District will know. They're also wet.
The feeling today is Pam, that is a good bank for deer right along there, but the way the wind's coming, it's going to shift the deer off that bank today with the wind. So we've got to take really what opportunities arise today, you know.
Right.
And I think that's wouldn't be a bad stalk for you to do down there.
Okay.
You know, we've got a good shield from that bank to go down the beck side. We have, you know. It's a good distance it is for us to stalk into it as well.
Okay. Sounds good.
It's just the way the weather is and the wind, we've got to take what opportunity there is, you know. Yeah.
A careful 10 minutes glassing the hill, and Jonathan starts leading us towards where he is sure the herd is feeding. To us, they remain invisible a mile away and hidden in long grass. We make our way along a beck, that's a Lake District word for stream. The beck has carved a snake-like cutting down the side of the fell. Every now and then we have to walk slowly in pairs or even crawl across open ground in full view of the herd. What with Pam's designer, manager, UK representative's assistant, cameraman, stalker and that bloke who seems to turn up everywhere, it's testament to how good Realtree camouflage patterns are that we are able to turn the usually solitary activity of deer stalking into a spectator sport. By now we are all able to see the deer, and Jonathan is worried. He knows that Pam, a Texan, wants a big animal with antlers, and he can't see one. Pam is not worried. She is more than happy to help him with his hindcarl instead. Jonathan loves his deer herd to look fit and healthy on the hill, and he even likes to keep them good looking when he comes off the hill and disappears into the shed in his garden. He shows me what's inside. That's a massive Siberian roe deer head. What is it about putting a head on a wall? Why do people like doing that?
It's like preserving a memory, isn't it, of the stalk, and you know, it's lasts a lifetime. You know, first fox I got done was when I was 10, 11, 12. My dad got it done. I've still got it now. You know, yeah. So it, you know, it's a good memory to have.
I mean, I do it. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
And there's this idea that, you know, big shot, big game hunters from all over the world come here and they come to you and get. I mean, how many of these heads are for foreign clients who spent thousands of pounds, and how many are for locals?
There's not one. No, they're all for local people from England and everything, but not one for a foreign client. No.
So this idea is it's a bit of a myth, really.
It is definitely, yeah. I think people get the wrong illusions, don't they? You know, but I do very few for foreign clients, believe it or not.
But then nice to have a foreign client when we
can
get
one.
one.
Yeah, definitely. You bet. Oh, you don't turn them away. No, of course not.
Now you've won awards for this kind of thing, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I was.
Be immodest.
I was self-taught as a taxidermist. Always been interested in wildlife and nature from a young age. You know, kept young deer and that and things like that, and that got me interested in taxidermy, really. You know, and.
Were you a keen stalker to start with?
My background first was forestry, and that got me into deer management. It did, and that's when I turned more to stalking. It was, you know. Yeah, I worked for the same estate for 19 years. It was, you know. I've been working for myself probably about 8 or 9 now. You know.
And you're a Cumbria man, aren't you?
I am born and bred in this village. Yes, my parents both died now, but they were farmers in the village. You know. Yeah, so I know all the local land and everything. Yeah.
Back on the hill, and we're getting close to the herd Jonathan has identified for us. And already we're running into trouble.
We've got a bit of a sheep problem. 2 unwelcome visitors to the stag herd if they break and go over the top, so we're having to be a bit extra careful.
Happily, with the weather closing in, the Reds stay where they are. It's time for the crowd to stay put and for Pam to go forward with Jonathan to her firing position. It all happens incredibly quickly. A 250-yard shot. Pam aims high. She hits the deer, but incredibly it doesn't go down. She reloads, puts in a safety shot, and down it goes. So is Pam one of those glamorous international trophy hunters who fly in, shoot a huge animal and fly out. First shot, bit nerve-wracking. Second shot, fantastic.
Yes,
you got it.
It's a lot of fun. That spotting and stalking is my favorite. It's hard hunting, but it's my favorite way to hunt. I would much rather walk across all these hills than sit in any kind of stand. So it's good fun.
So, but you know, you shoot something and you see it go forward like that. Your heart goes to your mouth, doesn't it?
It does. And it never hurts to take a second shot. It's a safety shot. It's good for you. It's good for the animal, and it just makes everybody in a safer position. And works this time.
Good. So this is a red hind.
Yes.
So what is this like in America for you?
Probably like the probably closest to a mule deer in size. Our mule deer are bigger than our whitetail, and
yep.
But you know, one of the does, and we take does off for management purposes and meat and all kinds of reasons. So that'd be about what it was like. It's good fun.
You've done a good job. Brilliant.
Well, thank you. Thanks
well
for
done.
having me.
So when the newspapers claim that some foreign stalker has just shot an emperor stag near you, think of Pam. She's the real face of the international hunter.
Couscous. Doesn't everybody
If you want to go stalking with Jonathan, email jonathan.standing@btinternet.com. And if you want to find out more about she, visit www.shesafari.com. Since starting Fieldsports Channel, we've been lucky enough to go out with some exceptional stalkers and film some incredible deer. We've chosen the best of the bunch and are releasing our first Deerstalking DVD just in time for Christmas. A year of deer, 12 months, 6 species. It's stuffed with great advice and great stories. There's the fallow stalk with the added excitement of an aggressive dog walker throwing abuse as we take out an injured buck. Rugby league legend Kieran Cunningham describes his first red as being better than scoring at Wembley, and he should know. There's also a masterclass in calling in those roebucks and gralloching a Chinese water deer. It amounts to more than an hour and a half of some of the best action in the field, and for just £12.99. Go to the new shop page on the front of the www.fieldsportschannel.tv website to order in time for Christmas. Also in the shop you'll find our collaboration with sporting shooter editor James Marchington. In Pigeons the Expert's Way we talk you through hide building, decoys with Andy Pye and see how to prepare that huge bag of birds with game chef Mark Gilchrist. This is now available at a reduced price of just £12.99, including postage and packing, down from £17.95. Finally, we can announce the release of Foxing with Robert Bucknell and James Marchington. In this new DVD, Robert gives us a fascinating insight into an animal he's dedicated his life to understanding, enjoying and controlling. From calls to lamps, rifles, shotguns and ammo, an incredible range in mid-Wales where we test ourselves and our equipment, and going out after this most cunning of quarry, it's 90 minutes of tips, techniques and action in daylight and at night for just £19.95, available from our online shop and from www.sportingshooter.co.uk.